Twitter files, one focused on the censorship of Hunter Biden's laptop, which is a legitimate issue to be asking about, but it's also really nothing new. We knew that Twitter effectively censored the New York Post story about it, and 2 weeks later reversed course. Taibbi also revealed, among other things, that the Trump White House and the Biden campaign reached out to have material removed, but according to Taibbi, it was handled unevenly. Taibbi tweeted, quote, "The system wasn't balanced. It was based on contacts because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation. There were more channels, more ways to complain open to the left, Democrats, than the right." And in response, the right-wing media brought the torches.
This makes Watergate seem like jaywalking. Clearly, there was a rig job, a collusion in force.
This is so disturbing. It's so big. And it's interesting. The FBI should be protecting us from Joe Biden and his son and the national security threat they are to our country. And yet they were involved in suppressing it and altering an election in the process.
All right. And then former President Trump even called for the Constitution to be suspended in the wake of the revelations. Musk himself had claimed it's a violation of the First Amendment, which it definitely is not because it doesn't involve government action. Most important, these interchanges reveal that much of the information that Twitter agreed to take down were naked pictures of Hunter Biden. There was nothing in the first set of files that suggests an intentional effort to help the Biden campaign win. Bad judgment calls? Absolutely, on the laptop story. Is criticism warranted? Yes. Did the left have more access to Twitter execs? It sure seems that way. But this release of information was hardly a bombshell. And even New York Post columnist and author of The Laptop from Hell, Miranda Devine, conceded that.
Look, I think we've seen quite a bit that's useful. It's not really the smoking gun we'd hoped for.
Twitter files number 2 was arguably more significant because it showed evidence of what Barry Weiss called shadow banning of controversial conservative figures, despite Twitter having long denied that practice. Now, here's the issue. Depends how you define shadow banning. Twitter had long admitted to essentially not amplifying certain content. In a May 2018 blog post, a senior Twitter exec wrote, quote, "There are many new signals we're taking in, most of which are not visible externally. These signals will now be considered in how we organize and present content in communal areas like conversation and search." That is a public admission that they were moderating how tweets are presented in conversations and search. And the new information confirms that with regard to some of the most controversial and sometimes dishonest pundits, anyone could still go to their Twitter pages and see all their tweets, but they wouldn't be amplified by Twitter. Is that shadow banning, as Weiss and now many on the right claim, or is it just de-amplifying, as they've admitted to doing in the past? I guess it depends on how you define it. Twitter files number 3 focused on internal discussions about banning Trump and also revealed FBI meetings with Twitter security executives and Twitter files, but with nothing to suggest that anyone from the FBI told Twitter how they should handle it. And that's critical. Number 4 shows how Twitter executives allegedly reinterpreted their terms of service as a pretext to suspend the former president right after the riots, or as Schellenberger tweeted that on January 7th, execs, quote, "created justifications to ban Trump, sought to change policy for Trump alone, distinct from other political leaders, and expressed no concern for the free speech or democracy implications of a ban." And now, the 5th, today, from journalist Barry Weiss, details the culture inside Twitter, summed up by Elon Musk, who tweeted, quote, "Under pressure from hundreds of activist employees, Twitter deplatforms Trump, a sitting U.S. president, even though they themselves acknowledge he didn't violate the rules." Look, I have long believed it was wrong to ban Donald Trump for life from Twitter. But the notion that Twitter was trying to figure out what to censor and moderate on January 7th, 2021, seems understandable. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.